Για την Ευρώπη Ελευθερίας και Δημοκρατίας, ο κύριος Bloom, για 2 λεπτά.
I'm a baby boomer. I was born just after the war. We've probably had the longest period of peace and prosperity globally, I would say, from that time. I've put a little bit of modest money away so I can hand something down to my family when I pass on, largely because I've never spent more money than I've earned, and I've been prudent, and I've worked moderately hard. Now, it always seems to me as a complete surprise to politicians how countries get in debt. Let me explain, because I don't think you really understand it. It's because politicians consistently spend more money than they raise in taxation, more money than they can possibly raise in taxation, most of which, in point of fact, they actually waste. The reason we're talking about countries which are broke, and they are broke, is because they're ridiculous, ineffective, ignorant politicians consistently spend more money than they can raise, and then they borrow, and worse, they then print money because politicians and their central banks have a machine which prints money. You do that as a private citizen, and it's a criminal offence. You would go to prison for doing that, and politicians and their central banks do it all the time. Let me explain to you that these countries are broke, and they're broke because of their own stupid leadership and politicians, and it's immoral to ask ordinary taxpayers of any country to pick up the tab for failed politicians and failed banks. They are defaulted, they're broke. For God's sake, let's all of us admit it.
Κύριε Bloom, έχετε μία μπλε κάρτα από τον κύριο Goebbels. Δέχεστε την ερώτηση? I'm afraid I can only take one. Sorry, Mr. Brock, I can only take one blue card for every question. I apologize. Mr. Goebbels was first. You accept the question? Mr. Goebbels, 30 seconds.
Monsieur le Président, j'aimerais savoir si M. Bloom sait que l'Espagne est moins endettée que la Grande-Bretagne, que l'Irlande était bien en deçà des 60% avant la crise bancaire, et que l'Irlande, en s'endettant pour sauver ses banques, a sauvé notamment l'argent des banques britanniques.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I wasn't suggesting my politicians were any less stupid than anybody else. It's an absolute disgrace. And it wasn't even debated in our national parliament to actually rescue these bust banks. If you want to invest in bust banks, do so with your own money, not money from my old age pensioners in Yorkshire on 98 quid a week. You scoundrels.
Εξ ονόματος των μη εγγραμμένων, η κυρία